Strong people, Kalle Beck here from StartingStrongman.com. World's Strongest Man, Day 3 updates. Craziness. Day 3 consists of the overhead medley, which looked like 2 dumbbells into a barbell into an axle. People seemed to motor through it pretty well. I would say it was on the lighter side. And then after that, there was a front hold. Overall winner after those 5 events of the front hold and everything go into the final. Then 2 and 3 do a stone off. They had stones stacked up where 3 had to load it. Whoever got third, then second, and they kept getting heavier and heavier, and until they got to the last stone, then they had to just send it back and forth. A little mix of what we've seen in the past. You know, it's been stone over bar rep for rep, then a series. Now it's kind of both. Anyways, on the overhead medley, Brian Shaw won the overhead medley in Group 1 over Maxime Boudreau in second. Then Gavin Bilton in third. Avar Smokestellis in fourth. And Travis Ortmeyer in fifth. So pretty much after that result, Brian Shaw wrapped up Group 1. All he would have to do in the front hold, pick it up, put it down, get 1 point, and he advanced to the finals. And that's what he did. He had 18.5 points over 14 for Maxime. Then Maxime was in a pretty comfortable position as well with, with 14 over an 11.5 to Ivar's. And then Gavin and Travis both had 8 apiece. In the front hold, Brian Shaw picked up the pickaxe, put it down. That's all he needed for his 1 point, 19.5 in his group to advance to World's Strongest Man finals. Looked like smooth sailing through Group 1 for Brian Shaw. Looking very strong going into the finals. This is the easiest time he's had making the finals in 3 years. Ivar Smokestellis won that event, doing it in 32.51. Gavin Bilton 31.02, 4 points for Gavin. 30.64 for Maxime, and 20.28 for Travis Ortmeyer. Great seeing Travis back at World's Strongest Man. I think it's the longest absence there's ever been at World's Strongest Man, and good to see. It's a great story, and very happy for Travis on a personal level. So Brian Shaw wins the group, 19.5 points. Maxime Boudreau gets second with 17. Ivar Smokestellis, 16.5. Then they go into the stones. Maxime versus Ivar's. And Maxime wins the stones and advances to his first World's Strongest Man final. Huge for Maxime. I think he'll really mix it up in the finals. Group 2, the overhead medley. We had a huge result here with Trey Mitchell doing all 4 implements in 29.77, winning him the event. And then in second was Evan Singleton, 4 in 32.08. Then Tom Stoltman in third, 4 in 38.02. And then Johnny Hansen, 3 in 29.20. Then Mark Felix did the first dumbbell. So after that event, Trey Mitchell was just 1 point behind Tom Stoltman for first place. And the tiebreaker in Worlds is the last event. Whoever placed higher in the last event wins a tiebreaker, which is the pickaxe hold, the front hold. So going into the front hold, Trey Mitchell just has to place above Tom Stoltman to make it to the finals and win the group. And he did. He won the event with 46.13. A very good performance, giving him 5 points, 19 total, to advance to the finals and win the group. People gave me all kinds of crap for saying Trey Mitchell could possibly beat Tom Stoltman in a stone off. And we didn't get to see that happen, but he did beat him in a group. He won 5 events fair and square and placed above him. So to say Trey is a much lesser strongman than Tom Stoltman, it's looking like that's not the case. Of course, I think the finals event suit Tom a lot better, but do not underestimate Trey Mitchell. Then we have, it ended up being Tom Stoltman versus Mark Felix. Mark Felix got second in the front hold, so it looks like that veteran experience paid off. Ended up with 14 points, besting Evan Singleton, who had 13, then Johnny Hansen, who ended up with 11. And then we had Tom Stoltman versus Mark Felix in the stone off. They're both able to do 5 of the stones. I think it went up to, I think there's 5 total stones, but since Mark was third, basically they have to, third has to load it before second does, and it doesn't seem like he loaded the 6th stone, so you have a little bit of an advantage there in getting second place, which is good that there's some advantage. Tom Stoltman advances to the finals. Looking forward to seeing how he does, and it's great that he still made the finals. Would have been great to see Mark Felix make the finals, but I feel like Tom would be more competitive in them. Trey Mitchell and Tom Stoltman advance from Group 2. So far, 2 groups, 2 Americans win their groups. Group 3. So we had Ithor came on strong in the train push, really, and then mixing it up. JF dropped some points with Robert Oberst getting second onto the overhead medley. Historically, Robert Oberst has been good at overhead medleys, and just looking at these results, I didn't see what happened, but he did all 4. Everyone in this group did all 4, but he did them slowly. So JF, who sometimes overheads he does bad at it, he won this with 33.72, which gave him a nice solid lead back going into the front hold. Followed by Mikhail Shivlikov coming on strong at 38.18. Then Ithor Melstead 4 in 39.77. Then Robert Oberst 4 in 52.25. So it was still pretty close after that, after the overhead medley between them. JF had 17, Ithor had 13, Shivlikov had 13, and Oberst had 11. So we go into the front hold. Robert Oberst does it in 48.03, which I think was the best performance out of any group in the event. Of course, some people didn't give full effort, but, he had the best front hold time. Just being sneaky. Didn't perform where he thought he would in the overhead medley, then performs in the front hold, just squeaking into the stone off. JF Karan did it in 29.19 to get 3 points, 20 overall. Ithor did it in 43.67, which would have won a lot of the groups, to get 4 points, and gain 17 to get second. Oberst again 48.03 for 5 points, 16 overall, going into the stone off. Mikhail Shivlikov did 23.25. Worst case scenario, got last. Not a strong event for him. Based on that time, 2 points, 15, and he was eliminated. Into the stones, Ithor versus Robert Oberst. They loaded 5 stones. Oberst couldn't load the 6th, it sounds like, and Ithor Melstead advances to his first World's Strongest Man final, I believe. I think last year was his first year, and it's good to see someone from Iceland in the World's Strongest Man final. Interested to see how he does in the log press. Robert Oberst is eliminated. Very weird competition for him. A lot of people say he doesn't belong, this or that, but he got 2 first place and a second in a strong group, and then, shit the bed in the squat and the overhead. It's just kind of odd. But every year he at least ends up in a stone off, and that's more that can be said for some of the competitors. Anyways, moving on. Group 4, which is the injured group. There was only 3 people left after day 2, so it was kind of like we kind of knew what was going to happen. Gymnasia, Adam Bishop wins the overhead medley to get 5 points. Konstantin Gymnasia does 3 in 48.42 for 4, getting 17 points. And Jerry Pritchett just doesn't do it, knowing he's going to have to do the stones. He's very injured as well. And Then into the front hold, Janashia does 25.07. Jerry does 35.39 to win. Adam Bishop does 10.97, basically seeming like I have second place wrapped up anyway, so who cares? Then Jerry does 2 stones and fails to do the third. So Adam Bishop advances to the finals. So that would be so Adam Bishop advances. Very valiant effort by Jerry Pritchett. If he's only doing 2 stones, he's in a ton of pain. So then Group 5. Group 5 is madness. Out of Group 4, Konstantin Janashia wins the group to advance. Adam Bishop beats Jerry Pritchett in the stone-off to advance to the World's Strongest Man finals. Good to see Janashia back in a finals. Adam Bishop returning after a good performance in the finals last year. Group 5. So, going into day 3, Group 5 was 11, 11, 10, 10, and 3. Group 5 was by far the most evenly matched and the most stacked. And it's kind of tough because Bobby Thompson's never been in a finals. Kevin Ferriss was in 1 finals last year, and I think some people might have looked at it kind of as a fluke. Luke Stoltman didn't perform well in the groups last year, so I could see why they would put these all together with the winner, Novokov. But if you've been paying attention, people underestimate Kevin Ferriss just because he's not 300-something pounds and 6'5". He's a smaller guy, but he is he's undefeated as a 105-kilogram strongman. He probably would just still be undefeated in that if he didn't gain like 20 more pounds. He's an absolute animal, and people should stop underestimating him. And Bobby Thompson was a little banged up last year, and he looks like he's one of the most improved athletes. I was asked in my Q&A who's the most improved, and looking after these results, I'm going to say it's Bobby Thompson and Luke Stoltman. Luke Stoltman looks incredible this year, and it's just so close. Then you look at their times in the fingers. It's within fractions of a second between all of them. And then in the overhead medley, it was no different. And people had to pull up big. Novokov had a very poor first day that he clawed back from in day 2, and going into day 3, he tried to keep that going. Some report that he strained his biceps a little bit on the barrels, being a shorter competitor. I don't know. All of this is kind of fan fiction, as I like to call it, until we see the official results someday. But, going into it, overhead medley, Alexi Novokov, 4 implements in 24.83. Are you kidding me? That is insane. That's so fast. And get this. Luke Stoltman did 4 in 25.63. So Novokov just beat him, and he was pumped up. So 2 events in a row. Novokov's looking like he's going to get right back into the finals. He's like, okay, I messed up on day 1, but I just won the past 2 events, getting right back into it. But no one is making it easy on him. That was followed by Kevin Ferriss, who did 4 implements in 29.23. Then Bobby Thompson with 4 implements in 43.43. Bobby struggles with Axel a little bit. Much better, but it's funny because he's like other than Luke, but he's the second best log presser in that group probably. So it's funny. So then we get this crazy result. After the overhead medley, we have Novokov with 15 points, Luke Stoltman with 15 points, then Bobby and Kevin have 13 apiece. What's going to happen? I just start to feel bad that 2 of these guys have to go home. They put so much effort. Group 5 is going to be crazy television. They need to not cut out 1 event from anyone in that. Like that, it would be like as good a TV as like any finals I've seen. How back and forth and the storylines and the performances. I can't wait to watch Group 5. Into the front hold. Alexi Novokov does it in 32.8 34.1. Luke Stoltman does it in 34.60. Kevin Ferriss does it in 35.38. Bobby Thompson does it in 41.62 to win the event, get 5 points, get 18 total. Luke Stoltman got 3 points to get 18 total. Kevin Ferriss got 4 points to get 17 total. Novokov got 2 points to end up with 17 on the day. What's going on? Has there ever been a group that's closer? There's reports that Irvin Tooch had a tricep injury, not 100%, gave a valiant effort, ended up with 5 points on the day. He was also reserved, called up. Gabe Pena maybe would have been called up, but he, after his heart issues last year, medical didn't clear him, and they're working with him, and hopefully that can all get resolved so he can compete next year. But anyways, so how the tiebreaker is decided is whoever placed higher in the last event, which is the front hold, which means Bobby Thompson beats the tiebreaker against Luke to win the group, the third American winning their group. 3 out of 5 groups were won by American athletes. And I'd say there's a lot of Americans that are even missing at World's Strongest Man. The depth in the USA is crazy right now. It's definitely an all-time high. And then Kevin Ferriss placed above Novokov in the front hold, so he advances, and Novokov is eliminated. Last year's champion doesn't even get to do the stone off to try. He's done. It's against Kevin and Luke Stoltman to make it to the finals in the stone off. Novokov's out. Returning champion, he's gone. Probably would have made it through in just about any other group, probably, but Group 5 was a killer. There's a lot of young, hungry athletes. If you look at this, maybe not by age, but by, their strongman years, probably the youngest group overall, and it made it, everyone came to play. Everyone's improved, and it was nuts. So they do the stone off. Luke Stoltman loads 7 stones, which means he got a couple reps with the last stone. Kevin Ferriss loads 7 stones, and it looks like fails to do the 8th. So again, the biggest performance in the stone off is from Group 5. Kevin Ferriss fails to advance. Luke Stoltman advances. So out of Group 5, we have Bobby Thompson and Luke Stoltman. No Novokov, no Kevin Ferriss. And it's going to be wild. We have a day off tomorrow. I'll be putting up my predictions for the finals tomorrow. And yeah, so to recap, out of group, we have Luke Stoltman, Bobby Thompson, Adam Bishop, Konstantin Janashia, Thor Melstead, JF Caron, Maxime Boudreau, and Brian Shaw are this year's 2021 SBD World's Strongest Man finalists. Who do you think is going to win in the finals? Put your predictions in the comments below. Let me know what you think about the groupings, the pickaxe hold deciding who wins, and how tiebreakers were done, the stone off, all of the fun, and what your finals predictions are. And I'll put out my video tomorrow, so be sure to subscribe below for more Strongman news.